I'm Dr. Denise Cook. I have a PhD in neuroscience, and I'm here today to talk about my research project, which is trying to link genes to personality type.
So darn cool. So darn cool. And so, Denise, would you like to tell us a bit about Personality Genie? What is it?
Yeah, so it's a research project that I started in 2018. So when I first got into type, and that was back in 2012, I had like a major upheaval in my life where like basically nothing was working. I'd like hit rock bottom and was trying to like analyze all this data that was like flooding into my mind. And that's when I bumped into personality type.
What I like to say is that sometimes people find their way into the type community because they went through an experience equivalent to an ontological shock.
Mm-hmm.
This is when they have a major thing that shifts their fundamental belief system in some way. They say that the effect of this is similar in the brain to PTSD. And so having a framework to really make sense of it all almost calms down that existential crisis in your mind. It's like, oh, that's why everything was happening that way.
That's a really good way of putting that, actually. I've been reading papers on exactly that thing, that like ontological shock is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
There's just this buildup of stress, and then something acute happens, like you lose a loved one, or you suffer some sort of job loss, and then like your whole world kind of explodes, and like your mind kind of goes through all of your historical information, tries to like piece it all together.
Yeah. That's
interesting. Exactly. That's what I find, is that if you're trying to introduce someone to Jungian psychological type or any of his psychology, a lot of it is like, well, you need to experience it sometimes to understand it.
You do, yeah. The breakthrough moment for me was probably all my friends got typed by my ENFP friend, and she really helped make sense of it all to us, and she explained it. It helps make sense. Like, she also typed my entire family too. Like, she's really, really intense with that. And it made everything make sense. Yeah. It's like no one is purposely trying to be malicious to each other. Like, no one wakes up in the morning thinking about all the ways they can piss you off. It's a personality difference that's accidentally clashing. Yeah. Yeah. And it helps you be more compassionate towards people too. And it's like you don't blame it on some sort of innate thing of that person, but you start to see things that you would have initially judged as something that makes sense. And so it helps with the compassion process and
definitely
forgiving the self and forgiving others. Yeah. And so, Denise, I would like to show people how to sign up for your website if they want to participate in your study.
Perfect. That's great.
Cool. You click, I'd like to participate, and there's this whole consent form, and then you log into Open Humans. Because I already did that, it'll take you straight to this page.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And so in Open Humans, you would submit your DNA that you'd either get from 23andMe or Ancestry.com. Once you're done that step, it'll take you here. The first test you'll take is the Truity test. Before you take the test, it'll give you this study ID email address, and you just copy it here like that. And then when it asks you for your information, you can just put it in both the name and the email slots, and then press start test. Yeah.